Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 6 of my NFL predictions. Last week, in week 5, I went 7-7, which it's not bad. It's not bad. It's the only time I've not had a winning record, but I didn't have a losing record either, so I'll take that. I got Jags and Bills wrong. I thought Bills would be able to keep their performance that they did the past 2 or 3 weeks. But maybe jet lag got to them, and the Jags play really well in the UK. I think I mentioned that last week. Titans lost to the Colts. That was a toss-up for me. I had no idea who was going to come out on top of that one. I have no idea if the Titans are good or not. I don't even know if the Colts are good or not. I don't even know if the Steelers are good or not. They beat the Ravens because Lamar's receivers can't catch a ball and they have butterfingers, just like the Chiefs receivers did week 1. I got the Saints right, but they shut out the Patriots. That's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt for New England fans. Bill Belichick might be out of the job soon. That will be fun to watch. I got Bengals Cardinals wrong because, of course, I did. Of course, the Bengals decided to actually perform the 1 week where I don't pick them. For some reason, it still says Packers Raiders is in progress. It's not. Raiders won 17-13. I got that one wrong. Maybe Packers are just worse than I thought. I thought Crosby would be injured for that as well, but it wasn't. Bears got their first win, and it was over the Washington Commanders. To be completely honest, I'm not that surprised. If after the Broncos, if there was any team the Bears were going to beat, Commanders was definitely up there as one of them. Definitely a contender to lose to Chicago. And finally, I got the Eagles-Rams wrong because I went for the upset, and like the Bengals, Eagles decide to actually perform and do well against the team. The one time I don't pick them. Anyways, let's move on to week 6. And we start with the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday night. I'll be surprised if the Chiefs don't win this. They need something to reignite their spark of dominating against most of the teams they play against, because they've been struggling in the past few games that they've had. Granted, not against Chicago, but it's Chicago. They don't have too much of a defense there. It's not that big of a surprise. So hopefully, since I'd say Denver and Chicago are about the same skill level, maybe even Chicago are a bit better despite losing to the Broncos. The Chiefs shouldn't have that much of a problem. They're playing in Arrowhead Stadium. I'm going to give this one to the Chiefs. The UK game this week is the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. I'd originally picked the Titans to win this, but I still don't know if they're good or bad, to be completely honest. If the Ravens receivers can catch the ball, I'm going to pick the Ravens to win. But if their defense doesn't do its job and Derrick Henry just runs all over them and just steamrolls their defense, then that could be a very safe win for the Titans. But I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm going to keep my faith in them for now. Titans are just too flaky. The next game is the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Anthony Richardson is injured for the Colts and could be out for about a month. Jonathan Taylor might be back as well. I don't know if he played against the Titans last week. I'll be completely honest. But if the Jags defense can play like they did against the Bills, I think they'll win. But if the jet lag from coming back to going back to the States from the UK, if that jet lag gets to them and they're not used to the time zones yet, I think Colts could definitely capitalize on that and split the series with them. But for now, I'm gonna pick the Jags. Home field advantage might help. It's a shorter flight from the UK to Florida, so they should mostly be fine. And I'm gonna pick them to get the win there. And after that, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Miami Dolphins. One of, if not the worst team in the league, against one of the best teams in the league. I've got the Dolphins winning this. They should win this. I don't think they should struggle that much. They're playing it in Miami. Carolina's not been doing great with Bryce Young. They did put 24 points up against the Lions, but the Lions put 42 on them. So I'm going to pick the Dolphins to quite comfortably get a win, and I'll be damned if they don't. The next game, oh god, it's the Seattle Seahawks at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals decided to show up last week against the Cardinals and decided to actually make Jamar Chase look like he did last season. Seahawks didn't show up at all last week because they were on a bye week. I am going to pick the Bengals to win because I feel like this is just one that they would just somehow win. I'm not sure if they're better or worse than Seattle at this point. I think this is like the game against the Cardinals. I think was their turning point, and I think they'll be able to continue their wins and start racking up some more in the next coming weeks. And I think it will continue with Seattle. The next game is the San Francisco 49ers at the Cleveland Browns. Browns are at home and they're coming off a bye week, but they're playing the 49ers. And the 49ers are looking like a damn strong team. If they just continue playing this way, I think they might just win the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna lie. They don't look like they're in a losing position at the moment. They've got a really strong offense, even stronger defense. And I don't think either of these advantages of coming off the bye week and playing at home are going to help Cleveland here. I'm going to pick the 49ers to win. Especially since Nick Chubb is also injured for the Browns, so they're not going to be running that much. Yeah, this should mostly be a cakewalk for the 49ers. The next game is the New Orleans Saints at the Houston Texans. I think this could be a surprisingly entertaining game with the Saints defense against the Texans offense. But I'm going to pick the Saints because I think their offense matches up better to the Texans defense than the other way around. And I think that's going to be the determining factor. Patriots are supposed to have a really good defense because Belichick's supposed to be a good defensive coach, and the Saints weren't supposed to have a good offense, supposedly. And Patriots lost to the Saints 34-0. Saints put 34 points up, supposedly one of the best defensive coaches in all of football. And they didn't even let the Patriots score once. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Saints to win that one. The next game is the Washington Commanders at the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not sure if this is an upset, but I'm going to pick Washington to win. I know the Falcons have a good running game, and Desmond Ridder actually did something last week. And I know that the Texans are actually a decent team. Falcons still won, but they only won by 2. And it was I think they were at home as well. But I feel like Commanders are they're just gonna surprise them. They're gonna get the upset win in Atlanta and keep their 500, keep their .500 and stay even for their record. But I think they don't have a good offensive line or, to be honest, a defense that good. The defense just didn't show up against the Bears. Just rather unfortunate. I'm going to pick the Commanders to get an upset win against the Falcons. The next game is the Detroit Lions against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are coming off a bye week, and the Lions haven't lost since week 2. Which I'm not surprised about. The Lions are a very good team. But I think the Bucs are also a strong team, and having a home game coming off a bye week, I think will strengthen them just enough to be able to get an upset win against the Lions. When I looked at the Lions' overall schedule, by the end of the season, I think I had them at like 12-5 or 11-6, but they lost. I had them losing to the Bucks because I just think Bucks have too much in advantage for them, too much in their favor. They're at home. They're coming off a bye week. They've got a good defense. They've got a good offense as well. I think they could even win the South this year. And somehow they're doing better with Baker Mayfield than they were with Tom Brady. And, well, I think they'll get a surprise win against the Lions. I don't think the Lions are a bad team by any means necessary, but I think Bucks will be able to squeeze out a win there by, say, like 10 points, 7 points. I'd say it's a one-score game. I think Bucks will win by one score. The next game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. Justin Jefferson might be injured for the Vikings, and if he is slightly injured but he's able to play, he would still have he would still feel like that injury. He would still have the remnant of that injury just remaining there. And if the Vikings can't capitalize on their Cousins Jefferson connection, then I think the Fields DJ Moore connection might be a bit stronger. Neither of these teams have a particularly good O-line or defense, but if the connection to DJ Moore is stronger than to Jefferson, I think Chicago will get a win at home. The next game is the New England Patriots at the Las Vegas Raiders. The first of the late games, and as I said before, the Patriots got shut out last week by the Saints. The Raiders got an upset victory against the Packers in a low-scoring game. But if the Patriots don't have much of an O-line, and I think Max Crosby is going to be feasting on Mac Jones when they play against each other, I'm going to pick the Raiders to win. I think the Patriots will end up losing, what is that, 3 in a row? Yeah, I think that'll send them to 1-5, and the Raiders will go up to 3-3, surprisingly. But I think the Raiders will beat the Patriots at home. The next game is the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Jets. The Eagles, just like the Bengals, decided to show up last week against the Rams. And the Rams have a solid defense. You know, it's not easy playing against Aaron Donald. And while the Jets have a good defense as well, I don't think they have as good an offense as the Rams. And if the Eagles can beat the Rams, I think the Eagles can beat the Jets. I don't think Jets are absolutely awful, but I think their offense just needs a bit more power to it. Because while Zach Wilson did look good against the Chiefs, he still didn't win and only beat the Broncos by 10. Not sure if that's on the fault of the offense or the fault of the defense. But I think either way, Eagles will beat the Jets. The next game is the Arizona Cardinals at the LA Rams. I've got the Rams winning this one. I originally had the Cardinals winning this, but they decided not to double or triple cover Jamar Chase. And if they can't do that to just one of the Bengals receivers, how are they going to do that to 3 of the Rams receivers with Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp? I think Rams have a better defense. They have a better offense. They're playing in SoFi Stadium. So I'm going to pick the Rams to win the divisional game against the Cardinals. But I expect the Cardinals to get a couple more wins in the next couple of weeks. The Sunday night game is the New York Giants at the Buffalo Bills. Honestly, I'm going to be disappointed if the Bills don't win this. The Giants haven't looked good in any of their games this season at all. They have no offensive line. Their defense is going down the drain. Their offense has Daniel Jones might be injured. He had a neck injury against the Dolphins. I'm not sure if he's going to be out against the Bills, but I think he should be, because if he's not out against the Bills, then he's definitely going to get hurt against them. Von Miller, just like Max Crosby, is salivating at the idea of just no offensive line to stop them from sacking the quarterback. And the Bills, while they didn't look great against the Jags, it was in the UK. Bills aren't completely used to playing in the UK. The Jags are. That was an unsurprising result. And I think the Bills are going to be able to take advantage of the fact that the Giants have no defense, no O-line, no Saquon Barkley, possibly even no Daniel Jones. And I think that would be for the best if there was no Daniel Jones. But I don't think the Bills have a way to lose this unless they play horribly. They have to play god-awful in order to lose to the Giants. They're playing at home as well. The Bills should win this. And the final game is the Dallas Cowboys at the LA Chargers. While the Cowboys did get their butt kicked by the Niners, and the Chargers are at home after coming off a bye week, meaning that the Seahawks were the only team to go on a bye week and then come back and play an away game. I'm not complaining too much. I think we played better away, but still. While they are playing in SoFi, I think Dallas will have a bounce back game and beat the Chargers. But honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if the Chargers actually got the win. It's just I don't trust their defense. Sure, they have Khalil Mack, but that's about it. I can't think of any other Chargers defensive players. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have a great defense. It's just that the Niners' offense is just too good. But I'm gonna pick the Cowboys to beat the Chargers on Monday night as well. That's gonna be the end of my Week 6 predictions. Hopefully, I do better than 7-7. I mean, it would be a different result considering only 2 teams are on a bye week this week rather than 4. But I just hope I'm not on a losing record, And until next time, goodbye and have a nice day.